What's up, guys? Back at it. Day 3 of the 31 Days of Value. It's my way of giving back to you. Appreciate you checking out the podcast and just being a part of my life experience. And I'm happy to serve. So, businessman, back at it. So, let go of someone yesterday. Had an employee that was festering, man. At the end of the day, man, like what I've learned is to have discernment when it comes to who stays and who goes. Sometimes I'll pray to God to separate those from my circle, or my business. And in a natural way, it always winds up happening. And that's why it's so important to operate in business with good intent. It's good to do that. It's always good to operate with good, true, honest intent, because everything else will fall into place naturally. It's very hard for someone with ill intentions, poor standards, vulgar out of the mouth, ego out the door, to survive in an environment that was built off of a strong foundation. This wasn't someone that is one of my core people, but someone that we thought would be, based off of how he worked and his work ethic. But if you build a company off of work ethic alone, you're going to find yourself with a poor culture. That's just the reality of the situation. You can't just have work ethic people. You have to have people. You have to have selfless people. For me as a leader, I try to operate in a way that I want my team to operate at their level, right? One of my things is I don't nickel and dime my team, right? Like if they work 36 hours, like I just give them the full week. If they go home because, it rained, like they get the full day. If they're sick or they call out and it's not like, if I know it's legit, whatever, dude, here, if you have to go take care of your family, like go, so I try to operate a business that's very people conscious, that life happens, but every now and again you get someone that takes advantage of that. Here's the thing. I know what the alternative is out there. I know that there's business owners that don't care. I know you got some business owners out there paying people 38.53 hours. Like, really? I mean, are we pinching pennies that much? And you're getting the full check. Do your job. I don't want you focusing on that. I don't want my team focusing on if they're going to eat, right? I don't want that to be the focus, right? I don't want their focus throughout the day to be, I hope my check is right. So I operate my business with as much integrity as humanly possible. And there's been times I've been challenged in that. There's been times that it was tempting to cut hours or tempting to, change the number. I mean, everyone faces that temptation. And I've always overcome that temptation of, trying to get away with saving a few hours here or saving a few hours there. And it's like, you know what? Abundance mindset, because I want that abundance mindset to spill over to my team, which it spills over to my customers, which creates compound abundance. It might not happen right away, but this is true. So I had to let go of someone. It always sucks, but one thing I've learned when letting people go is you gotta strike when the iron's hot. Like that every time, man. Like every time. The worst type of employees are the ones that are like a little below the line, right? So if you look at the line, whatever that line is, and above the line is someone that cares about the company, is a team player, does what needs to be did, recognizes the company looks out for them, right? Serves and goes above and beyond, right? For the customer, right? That one extra thing, that one extra piece of trash around the house, turning the hose off, right? And they're not looking at like, well, I'm not getting paid to do that. No, that's just my standard, and the company could get hurt if I don't do this. That's the people that I want in my business, and they exist, and I have a lot of them. It's It's a constant pursuit to get all of them. That pursuit will never stop. But I have a lot of bought in people. And I think the strength of a business, in any business, right? Drip Jobs. And I love the fact that I have two, because it helps me affirm the principles that I'm learning as a business owner. But I will say this, the more of those people that you have that are bought in beyond what the business does for them, rather what they can do for the business, the stronger the business. I don't care what it is, right? So in any case, this individual was not one of those individuals. And even though I'm removed from the operations, I'm very involved in what's going on, right? Through Slack and updates and, this and that. And, we had a customer tell us, and this never happens, man. This is why you got to trust God in everything that you do, because he'll just make it easy. You know what I'm saying? He will just make it easy if you keep him first, if you understand what the true intent of business is. It's a different topic maybe for one of our other sessions here, but never happens. I mean, this never happens. Customer has to start the job on Monday, has a doctor appointment all day, calls the office, says, I don't want them working. Okay, what do you mean? I want them to come back on Wednesday. Listen, I don't know if you know how scheduling jobs works, but it is very difficult when a customer tells you they don't want you to work in between a job. And honestly, this never happens. Like, I'd say that this has happened maybe once in 8 years. So the fact that it happened again is very interesting. And you're probably wondering why I'm telling you this. Because the individual that we let go was on that team for Monday. So because of the shift and the change, we had to send that crew he was a part of to a different town on Tuesday, which is it's our farthest work point, which is about 50 minutes away. It's always a little bit of a headache getting there just because it's a drive, right? But about 25 to 30% of our jobs are there. And every now and again, you got to drive there. That's part of the gig. I do pay for gas. So at the end of the day, it's just a matter of willpower at that point. So anyway, this guy has a little bit of a history calling out for like bogus reasons, especially when he first started. And we kind of like made it clear, like, dude, you can't keep calling out or you're going to have to find another job. He's actually the reason I firmly implemented a doctor's note, because it's like at some point you have to have checks and balances in place. So anyway, early on, a couple months ago, he's only been with us for a few months. He gave us the doctor's note. Okay, cool. Got it. No problem. You give us a doctor's note, you're good to go, right? Well, yesterday he calls off out of nowhere, right? And we're like, okay. And he gave us the excuse that he's throwing up. Now, listen, dude, I have been in business overall for like 15 years, okay? So I was like 18. I've seen it all. The throw up excuse is a red flag in and of itself. Like, who just wakes up in the morning throwing up? Like, I mean, that's got to be a rare scenario. I've been on earth for 32 years. Never in my life did I wake up in the morning and just start throwing up. College is a different story, right? We won't go there. I'm just saying it's just a rare thing, right? So the old I'm throwing up excuse, like 100% doubt it. And, if you are throwing up, chances are you can come to work when you're done. I mean, like, I don't know. Anyway, so I challenged my supervisor. I said, I have a bad feeling about him and this. Tell him to get us a doctor's note, and dude, I can pull that card out whenever I want. For someone that's built a lot of rapport with us, I'm not going to use that card. Like, if you need a day off, totally understand. I have other guys that are coming to work. They're tired. It's hot. Okay. Florida heat. It's the heat index here in the last 3 months, honestly, has been hotter than it's ever been. Like, it's been super hot to where, like, you get a tan just by walking down the street. It's crazy. So that adds to it. And I fully understand that, right? I'm trying to be an empathetic leader here. Tell the supervisor, give him a call, man. Tell him to get the doctor's note. Guy gives us an attitude, says he's not getting it. So at that moment, we knew. Like, it's like, dude, you just called off for nothing. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's not so much about calling off, first of all. Second of all, the problem is that it hurts the team members because we have a team culture, right? You subcontractor guys are listening. It's like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with this, right? But there's benefits, man, because the employees that I have, the ones that show up every day, the ones that wear the company on their chest, the ones that care. I know they care. It's obvious they care. They're the ones that have to pay for the individuals that are not doing what they should be doing. So, again, like, is it convenient right now to let someone go? We're already down another guy, right? So we literally need to hire 2 people. Is it convenient? Number one, the answer to that question is no, it's not convenient. Is it going to slow down the other jobs that are going on? Yeah, because I have to take resources from another good functioning crew and put it on the crew where the guy is no longer. So it slows down other jobs. Is it going to cost money? Absolutely. Slow down in production. Does it hurt morale? Absolutely. You know what? They probably built a decent working relationship in the last few months. It's going to hurt morale. Okay? So there's a lot of negatives around making that tough decision. But that's only short-term pain. Long-term pain is a festering, cancerous, egotistical individual who continuously brings down the team because the energy they bring to the job site is hurtful. It's me first, not team first. And that spreads. Dude, I've been doing this long enough to know if you've got a bad egg, it becomes their mission to spoil your batch, brother. I'm telling you right now, you may have someone like this in your business, dude. You got to get them out because they plant seeds into your beautiful garden, your beautiful stable of stallions, right? And you got this old raunchy show horse coming in and say, why are you guys happy being in this stable here when you could be doing this, or there's more money to be made here, or the boss doesn't really look out for you, or look how much money they're making, right? And it creates this negative energy, and this is what that individual was doing. And sometimes it takes months for that seed to fester in the minds and the hearts of our team who, maybe they weren't thinking about that. Maybe they were focused on the blessing that the company is to them and the opportunity that they were given. And it can distort their perception of your business. Strike when the iron's hot. Was it inconvenient? Heck yeah. I mean, do you think I want to get back into hiring? Do you think I want to have to get interviews going and do background checks? The short-term mindset is all the negatives. The long-term mindset is, what does this allow me to do? Number one, it allows me to help another individual in the world provide for their family. That's number one. Because I know that I'm going to make sure that they can provide for their family. That's a given. You work for me, you will provide for your family. I will sell the jobs. I will freaking paint next to you if I have to. That'll be a given. Number one. Number two, what message does that send to the team? Because it always happens this way. Why does it always happen that after we make the tough decision, everyone confides in the fact that it was the right decision? I think it's because everyone tries to look out for each other, in a group where they don't want to tell on each other. And it's like, okay, well, now that they're gone, it's like, oh, man, the energy is so much better here. Why does that happen every time? So the morale is an instant morale boost. Number three, it allows someone else to step up in that position. So this was a higher level, 2 painter, someone that got paid a little more for their skills. And now you have the third person that was on the crew. He becomes the second person. So now he feels good and he wants to be that person, right? He's going to take advantage of the opportunity. He gets more responsibility. So there's another blessing. Number four, it's a blessing to the individual we let go. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's how I see it, at least. I sent a message to this individual that, dude, like, yeah, you're good at what you do, but your attitude is what stopped you from growing with us. And, if God is in the business of shaping people and God is in the business of helping people achieve their best self, here's the good news. The good news is I'm just doing what I feel like God intends me to do in that moment. Because if I block God from helping someone see something that they wouldn't see otherwise, because whenever someone loses a job, that's definitely a moment of introspection and reflection. If I stop that because I'm scared of losing money or losing a job or losing opportunity, well, you know what? Like, really, what is my intent as a leader? Is it to make money, or is it to help individuals grow and impact others? Because again, I alluded to this in the first episode that I did here. Money, there's a ceiling, okay? And I know maybe you have like less than 10K in the bank and you're really working hard to get through that threshold. I just want to be clear, that threshold never stops, okay? You always want to make more. Once you hit one ceiling, you go for the next one. Once you hit it, then you go for the next one, then you go for the next one, then the next one, right? So the pursuit of money in and of itself is a very shallow pursuit. You probably know this, but even if you make money the catalyst of your decision making, that's the pursuit of money. Not just like going out and physically making it, but making money or loss of money the focus in your decision making is in and of itself the worship of money, right? So you know, again, I've made many of these decisions where I've let go of the wrong person at the wrong time. And I say the wrong time because at the time where I let them go, it was the wrong time. But then I look back and I said that was the right time. So strike when the iron's hot. So that was an opportunity where we saw a little void in the way things were working. Boom, called out, no doctor's note, gave us attitude, start blaming everybody, super negative, let him go. Done. But are you sure? I mean, we have all these jobs, let him go. God will provide. We'll figure it out. We'll get someone in here. That's how it works. That's the mindset, okay? No one can be bigger than the business. No one can be bigger than the mission. No one can be bigger than the customers. That's it. You know, I don't know if you've heard my story, but as I was helping my father through addiction, and now imagine this for a second. Your father has a major addiction. He's been addicted to drugs since I was 15. Okay. Thank God he's in a period of recovery. He's over the hump. He's doing amazing. So this is just a testimony, really. But picture this for a second. Your father's going through addiction. You start the business to help him through it. Okay, so the foundation of my business was built off of, I'd rather quit my job and start a painting business and help my dad through addiction than not do that, right? Like that was the idea, that he was going to do the painting. So anyway, you can find my story somewhere. I don't know. But the reason I'm saying this is, picture this for a second. You know, you have to fire your father. I mean, can you imagine that? I don't know if you ever experienced that, but I did. And it was because I had to protect the team. I had to protect the brand. And even though that was one of the toughest things I've ever done in my whole life, I had to do it. And there was a good reason I had to do it. So if you know anyone with addiction, you'd probably know what I'm talking about here. There was a good reason that had to be done. And I had to do it. And it made me stronger, because if I can fire my own father for my business, I can fire anyone for my business, to protect the brand, protect the people, protect the families that rely on this business. That's it. You know, father, friend, brother, sister, cousin, doesn't matter. Business comes first. The brand comes first. And that's a very hard thing for leaders to do, you know, to separate. You know, some of you guys are a little too close of friends with your team members. And I'm not saying you can't be friends with your team, right? I'm not saying to be standoffish. I'm just saying you're there to provide a job. And you're there to help people grow personally, individually. Now, this is my logic. This is my pursuit, right? This is my strategy on how to grow a business, is you create a place where people can take their gifts and provide those gifts to the marketplace. And through that, be held to a standard. And through that, they become a more polished individual. They develop self-worth. They recognize their abilities, create income, and that income allows them to provide for their families. So again, there's mission-driven businesses out there. I want to be one. I don't want to be anything other than that. I don't want any jobs that aren't mine. I don't want any employees that aren't mine. I don't poach. I'll never in my life poach an employee, ever. Okay? I see that's like a tactic, some of the big leaguers, or, say, hey, you go to Starbucks and you see someone that, gives you a good energy, and you offer them an opportunity. It's like, I think in some cases, sure, like maybe you're giving them a lift up, but like, what if you were the owner of that business? You know what I'm saying? That's how I think, right? So I don't want anything that's not mine. I don't want anything that doesn't naturally come to me. I don't want any employees on my team that don't want to be there, right? That's just how I operate. I want whatever's mine to be mine, whatever's not to go. Try not to hold on to the idea that if you train someone too much, they might start a business. Guarantee you it'll bless you more than it will curse you, if that's a belief that you have. One of my best friends, ever since I was a kid, man. I don't know if you guys know my buddy Nick, Make It Happen Painting. I'm so proud of this kid. I've known this kid since I was 13 years old. He was 11, so he's like a little brother. Kid he was a barber, and he just wasn't making ends meet as a barber. It's really hard to do. But I was like, hey man, do you want to come paint? And this kid could cut a straight line like you wouldn't believe. Amazing, like, coordination. Obviously, like, barbers can be really great painters. Anyway, long story short, he worked with me for a year, and then he started his own business, and we often bid against each other, and he's doing really good, and I'm really proud of him. And he's in a neighboring town, and it makes me happy to see that he grew. It makes me happy to see that I was a part of his growth. And guess who, if I call on a weekly basis 3 individuals that I rotate through whenever I want to, talk high level ideas, check in, who do you think's in that Rolodex? Of course it's Nick. So not only did I, help him, but I also have someone to sharpen my axe with, which is valuable to me, right? On a weekly basis. So a lot to unpack there, So abundance mindset, what's yours is yours. What's not yours, let it go. Strike when the iron's hot. Make the tough decisions, even though in the short term it might look like a loss. In the long term, it'll be a gain. Get out of God's way. If there's a situation that you feel as though is beyond your control, move. Let them go. You'll be fine. Someone else will take that spot. So hope this helps you. I hope you got something out of it. Day 3, 31 days of value. Appreciate you listening. Here's my ad. If you haven't done so already, please sign up for Drip Jobs. I'd love to have you as a user. We're building a lot of cool things. I think it'll be a benefit to your business. Appreciate you guys. Catch you later.